Good evening. You're watching the main news on HOY International Business Channel. I'm Maisy Mok. Here's a look at tonight's top stories. Companies are urged to step up cybersecurity as an awareness index records its biggest drop in 6 years. The Competition Commission takes Midland Holdings to court over price fixing. And Gaza's biggest hospital is turning into a cemetery, according to the World Health Organization. Hong Kong firms have been urged to step up cybersecurity. This comes after the Cybersecurity Readiness Index recorded its biggest fall in 6 years, with many companies hit by phishing attacks. Janice Yu reports.
The Cybersecurity Readiness Index has recorded its biggest drop since it was launched 6 years ago, falling 6.3 points to 47. The index assessed the security measures of 378 enterprises. The sub-index for policy and risk assessment also fell, while another for human awareness building remained unsatisfactory. Only 37% of the firms conducted a security risk assessment in the past 12 months. Resulting in a sharp drop in the policy and risk assessment sub-index. While companies can tighten their system settings to avoid loopholes and prevent hacking, they are urged to adopt cyber threat protection measures as well. As a result of low cybersecurity awareness, 73% of small and medium-sized enterprises that were surveyed were hacked in the past 12 months, mostly by phishing.
There are various types of phishing attacks. For example, email phishing, voice phishing, SMS phishing, and also social media phishing. All these kind of phishing attacks would easily deceive the user to provide their personal data to the scammers.
Firms are recommended to conduct regular risk assessments and to enhance data security by introducing practice drills to raise their staff's security awareness. Data security material are available on the Privacy Commissioner's website and hotline. Janice Yu, Cable News.
The Competition Commission is taking legal action against property firm Midland Holdings, 2 subsidiaries, and senior staff for allegedly fixing a minimum commission rate with Centerline Property Agency.
They wanted to increase the profits and they thought that the best way to do so in the circumstances, rather than competing fiercely on the market, was to essentially collude. If the financial situation or the financial market in general is such that companies are finding it difficult to operate in their normal setting, then this is all the more reason why they should compete more fiercely. It is not an excuse for them to get together and cartelize.
Midland and Centerline are alleged to have told their agents to charge a 2% commission for new residential property transactions. The commission said this amounted to serious anti-competitive conduct, and it is seeking to penalize Midland. Centerline was not charged after agreeing to assist in the investigation. A Democratic Party member who secured a Lunar New Year fair stall in Victoria Park today had his bid disqualified before he could sign a contract. The Food and Environmental Hygiene Department rejected the application under auction rules, which give the government the right to reject a successful bidder. Democratic Party Chairman Low Kin Hei expressed astonishment and disappointment. He said his party had participated successfully in previous fairs. Financial Secretary Paul Chan is doing a good job representing Hong Kong at the APEC summit in the United States, according to the chief executive. John Lee is skipping the San Francisco gathering because of scheduling issues. Chief Executive John Lee has given his vote of confidence to Financial Secretary Paul Chan, who's representing Hong Kong's leader at this week's Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit in San Francisco. Chan will be expanding his circle of friends, Lee said, and tell the world true stories about Hong Kong.
We emphasize, of course, in free trade and collaboration and cooperation, particularly regional cooperation. This is something that we have been advocating and trying to promote. The Financial Secretary will, of course, do that seriously. And I have already seen that he has been meeting counterparts from different economies, obviously expanding the circle of friends and introducing Hong Kong's attraction and potential to his counterparts.
In the past 2 days, Chan attended 2 meetings of APEC finance ministers. During the talks, chaired by U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, Chan kept his counterparts informed of Hong Kong's economic and financial situation. He spoke of the campaign to recruit global talent and attract enterprises, and the steps it's taking to address climate change. Chan will be at the APEC leaders meeting, which opens tomorrow on behalf of the chief executive. The highlights will include a meeting between President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Joe Biden. Overseas, the World Health Organization says the largest hospital in Gaza is now nearly a cemetery, with bodies piling up inside and outside. Doctors continue to treat the wounded as tanks surrounded Al-Shifa Hospital, trapping everyone inside. Patients have died because of power cuts, and there are fears that premature and newborn babies will not survive. With fighting between Hamas and Israeli troops raging on near the hospital, U.S. President Joe Biden said Al-Shifa must be protected. Meanwhile, another 200,000 people have fled northern Gaza, as the Palestinian death toll from Israeli airstrikes climbed to over 11,000. The bombardments began after 1,200 people were killed in a Hamas raid on southern Israel 5 weeks ago. Hundreds of pro-Palestinian protesters have clashed with police as they marched to the U.S. Embassy in Manila.
The bombs being dropped on Gaza come from the United States. The bullets used on Palestinians come from the United States. The drones used on Palestinians come from the United States. The U.S. has an overwhelming responsibility for the humanitarian catastrophe that is happening now in Gaza.
Officers used their shields in an attempt to stop the protesters from reaching the embassy in the Philippine capital. The crowd managed to break through the police ranks, but stopped outside the diplomatic compound, where security was tightened. Hundreds of U.S. government employees have called for a ceasefire in Gaza, voicing dissent against Washington's staunch support for Israel. This came as the group Rabbis for Ceasefire joined some Democrats to demand a halt in the hostilities.
How many more children have to be killed? How many more families traumatized and torn apart? There is nothing humanitarian about giving innocent civilians 4-hour break before they are bombed. We are calling for an end to the violence, not a break in the violence. A humanitarian pause is not enough.
In Chicago, hundreds of Jewish peace activists and their supporters gathered to demand a truce in Gaza. Police arrested over 100 protesters. One recent poll found that more than 65% of Americans favor a ceasefire. The chief executive says it will take time for the property market to adapt to the cooling measures he announced last month.
Buying a property is, after all, a major decision for a normal family. I also understand that the property market is facing challenges in Hong Kong in the same way as many economies are facing, which is a high interest rate situation, which may last quite a while.
The government reduced by half the buyer's stamp duty for non-permanent residents and the levy for locals purchasing a second home. But the measures didn't prompt developers to buy 2 Chongqing plots that were offered for sale recently. Lee said it's only been a month since he reduced the duties, and the government will continue to monitor market reaction. An academy has been established to assist family businesses as part of the government's goal to woo so-called ultra-high net worth individuals to set up shop in Hong Kong.
We're committed to provide ongoing training, knowledge exchange, and networking sessions for both industry practitioners and next-generation wealth owners to bring and to help and strengthen the values, legacies, and wealth of different family offices. We aspire to capture new opportunities in this sea change and turn Hong Kong into the premier global hub for family offices.
A number of second-generation business leaders sit on the Academy's advisory board. They include Winnie Chiu of Far East Consortium, Philip Kadori of Hong Kong and Shanghai Hotels, as well as Adam Kwok of Sun Hung Kai Properties. Now let's take a look at the markets. The Hang Seng Index ended the day down by 29 points. To the top 10 active stocks, Tracker Fund was down 3 cents, while Tencent was down $2. Meituan was down $3.30. AIA was up 80 cents, while Ping An was up 65 cents. To the forex trading against the Hong Kong dollar, Euro is at 8.37, British pound is at 9.6, while the Australian dollar is at 4.97. And in the UK market, the London FTSE is currently down 24 points. Onto the weather now. It will be mainly cloudy and dry tomorrow. Temperatures will range between 19 and 25 degrees. The mercury will fall further later this week. That's our main news for Tuesday night. Join us for more news at 11. I'm Maisy Mok. Good evening.